Hello, my name is Matt Cava, and I am an avid golf fan. During my time watching golf, I have seen one of the biggest moments in golfing history, and that is the PGA Tour and Live Golf merger. Many people find golf boring. However, in recent years, people have become more interested in the sport since the COVID lockdowns. Now, I want you to imagine your favorite player in your favorite professional sport leaving the league you love for another league, a rival. This is what I had to deal with, and in this speech, I will discuss what the PGA Tour is, what Live is and how it changed golf, along with my opinion on Live and the merger between the two sports. Now, the merger between the two sports is very recent, so there hasn't been a lot of information coming out on it. So I will briefly just discuss my opinion on that merger. So first, I will tell you what the PGA Tour is and why players left for Live Golf. Second, I will tell you how Live has changed the game of golf. Finally, I will tell you about my opinion on Live Golf and the merger between the two leagues. First, let's talk about the PGA Tour and why people left for Live Golf. So a brief description. The PGA Tour has been the main golf tour for many years now, featuring all the best players in the world. When it comes to playing on the PGA Tour, however, there's no guaranteed money, and the players are not accommodated with housing and have to pay for all their expenses and their entry fees to the tournament. Most of the time, these are through sponsors, so they don't have to pay, but for the lower ranked golfers in the world, they will still have to pay in these events. Now, this is where certain issues begin. After many years of dealing with these issues, players began to flock to Live. The reason for this is because they had a contract-based pay system, along with prize money if you won the tournament, so this was very appealing to many players. Some of the big names who left for Live were the names of Phil Mickelson, who has won many major champions such as the US Open. Nope, he hasn't won the US Open. The Open, the Masters, and the PGA Championship multiple times in almost his 30-year professional career. Bryson DeChambeau, who is the 2020 US Open champion and is one of the longest drivers of the golf ball the golf world has ever seen. And then the last big name was the 2022 Open champion winner, Cam Smith, who is one of the youngest up-and-coming stars in the world of golf, and he actually made the transition to Live shortly after his Open championship win. While these players did leave for Live, and were no longer able to play on the PGA Tour because they were banned, they were still able to compete in major championships like the US Open, the Masters, the PGA Championship, and the Open Championship, because these events were not ran by PGA Tour, they were ran by separate entities. The issues with them playing in these events comes with if they do not win, their official world golf ranking will drop, and eventually, if a player does not have any exemptions, they will not be able to play in those major championships anymore, which is where the big money is. Now that I've given a brief background on the PGA Tour and why some players left, I will now discuss what Live Golf is and how it changed the game of golf. Live Golf has changed many things in the professional golf world. One of the first things they changed was the scheduling of events. Events were now not held every weekend and gave players longer breaks between tournaments where they would be able to spend more time with family. Now, while scheduling was a big change for some people, being able to play less golf and make more money at the same time, the bigger change came within the actual formatting of those tournaments. Tournaments were now only 3 days and consisted of 54 holes with no cut line. Unlike the PGA Tour, was a 72-hole, was a 4-day event with a 72-hole cut line after 2 days, where if you don't make the cut, you don't make money. So the bottom half of the field will not make money on their trip. They also added a team aspect, where now teams and players did not just compete for solo prizes and could now make money if their team has done well. Some of these changes after the merger have been for the better, because when Live introduced these new formats, it caused the PGA Tour to change. The PGA Tour changed by adding designated events where only certain players would be able to play in these tournaments, and there would no longer be a cut line, and the prize money would be increased in these tournaments. However, to qualify for these tournaments, it depends on your world golf rankings, which means lower players would not be able to compete in these events. Therefore, they lose out on the changes that the PGA Tour has made. It only benefits the top players. Now that I've talked about the changes that Live Golf has made to the game, I would now discuss my opinion on the Live and the two mergers. So personally, I am not a fan of Live Golf. Now, why is this? I'm not a fan of Live because of the team aspect. I like to watch golf. I like to watch the professionals go at it head to head for 4 days, cut line, because it really brings in a scrappy attitude to the game. I also do not like the guaranteed contracts they will offer. I feel like it takes away from the competitive side, and some players might not have their full heart into the game. While yes, I do understand they're professional athletes and they've been doing this for a long time, money does talk. So there is a chance that some of these guys, just a handful of them, just don't really have their heart there anymore, and they're really just doing it for the money. Now, as for the merger, I'm very excited to see what the future of golf will look like. Because this merger is new, we don't know what much about it and what it means for the future. But however, I do think it only means good things from here. Now, for my conclusion, the first thing I told you about was PGA Tour and why players left for Live. Second, I told you about how Live is changing the game of golf. And then finally, I gave my opinion on Live and the merger of the two leagues. Now that I'm wrapping up, I hope you've learned more about Live Golf, the Live Golf situation, and hopefully this will give you a reason to keep up with the new updates coming out with the merger. I'm really looking forward to see where the game of golf will go from here, and I think that it's only changing for the better. Thank you.